Hello everybody and welcome back to a Town Hall Roundup. This one was from the 17th of June 2016 and it was an interesting one. There was no mech pack announced because the Huntsman had already been revealed. So we'll just get straight into it. There was talk of it being quite short notice apparently, so they had to sort of, surprise everybody with it. The NGNG folks discussed how Russ is missing time out from his family to do these things. I mean, alright, yeah, it's cool that the developer does it, but it's not like hundreds of thousands of other developers don't miss time with their families just working on the effing games. I mean, at least he's getting to sit there and, chat with the community and people like that. So I don't know why. Anyway, so they kick off, they talk about the patch notes, which I do recommend you check out on the website. There's a lot of information in there regarding Tuesday's patch, which looks like it's going to be a biggie. They mentioned Frozen City, the Redux. It's quite an impressive redesign, judging by the one or two images we've got of it. Apparently, it's going to sort of be bigger. It's got a new facelift. They've used textures from Polar Highlands to kind of improve the snow and stuff like that. It's got all the usual stuff, time of day, the night cycle switching, a few destructible things like trailers from vehicles, and the dropship and all that will still be there. So hopefully that'll be cool. It's probably the most welcome map update since River City, I'd say, because it being one of the older maps as well. Unfortunately, this means we lose, again, one of the maps, just like in previous times, so we lose Frozen City and Night, so we lose one map. But we gain one pretty nice map. They then move on to the Phoenix Hawk. They say it looks pretty cool, and it looks nice. The art team have always done a great job with the mechs, although obviously, when it comes to the unseens, the originals are always going to be better. They just do look better. But this Phoenix Hawk is nice. I do like it. They start talking about the Butterbee hero mech. The reason that they decided on a second hero for the catapult was due to the whole rescale, and the fact that the rescale for the catapult meant they pretty much had to create an entirely new model for the catapult, and that's what the Butterbee is, to kind of highlight the work they did. It's quite nice. I like the fact that all the missiles that you put into it now actually fit inside the pods rather than being sort of dotted around. Although apparently a narc beacon will be under the missile arm. For anyone who's wondering, the Founder's Catapult will still have the pointy nose, which is good. They then moved on to the Rescale, which is basically covered in depth on the patch notes again. So as I said, check out the patch notes post on the website when you get a chance. There is a lot of info about why they did it, the reason they came to coming up with the different changes in sizes and such. Basically, the general gist of it is that nearly every light mech has had some increase in size, bar a couple. The Locust, for instance, got a little bit smaller. So most of the nearly all the Innisphere lights got a little bit bigger, which is good for targeting and hitboxes. I think that's been probably on a lot of people's agenda for what would need to be changed for a while now. But that's not to say the other mechs didn't get bigger, like the mediums. Most mediums, heavies, and assaults all got slightly larger. Some got a little smaller, and some got some slight physical changes, like the Orion's right knee got changed a little bit. The Mad Dog and the Timberwolf, they both got changed a little bit as well. In fact, they got a little bit smaller. I think even the Jaeger mech looks like it got smaller because now its knees are bent when it's standing still rather than being straight up. Somebody asked about with this rescale, does that mean adjustments are possible past that? And Russ said that they will, and they will be monitoring it, and they will probably make changes as time goes along. The feeling is that the scaling will be a pretty big game changer, though I'm not 100% sure myself. I think light pilots will certainly be feeling the pinch a bit more when they try and run out into fire. But I think overall the gameplay is going to remain largely the same due to the core mechanics, not the size of the mechs, Let's see what else. Quirk adjustments have been made. There's a lengthy list of quirk adjustments. The most serious ones, though, are the Oxide and Hugin heroes have been pretty much nerfed now, so they're not as powerful as they once were. Then the real controversial point at the early part of the stream, the battle grid and the map, yeah. So they're adding the command wheel, as we've known for a while. The command wheel is contextual. The default controls are you hold E, and it will bring up an on-screen wheel of little vocal responses or minor commands like I need help or target spotted, focus, that kind of thing. And if you're a company commander or a lance commander, you get a few more options. Not sure how this will work when things are kind of mid to short range. I don't think people are going to be using it. Long range, and especially on maps like Alpine and such, and Polar, I could see it being used a lot more. One of the downsides, though, is the mini-map. The new mini-map is going to be zoomed all the way out, so you won't be able to see exactly where everybody is. And they've gotten rid of the triangles, which were nicknamed Doritos by a lot of players. So you can see your orientation on the map, but you can't see enemy or friendly mech orientation on the map. You can see them, but now they have new icons to represent light, medium, heavy, and assaults. And if multiples are on top of each other, they can stack. A lot of people weren't happy with this because they would like the ability to zoom in the mini-map. Russ was pretty indignant about this. He says he's open to a rollback of the minimap or possible changes. Now it's more pulled out. Can be seen on the patch notes again. Chat complain constantly about that, about how they couldn't see anything. And the more he went on, the more the chat turned on him, and he was sounding a bit frustrated with the responses he was getting. So yeah, at this stage, most people were unhappy with the changes to the minimap. And what really confused me about it is Russ just said, well, we're going to do it for a month, and then we're going to look at it. And it's just like, why don't you just hold that back, add the zoom function, and then everyone's happy? Because they can you can have your new minimap and feel like you've added that, and then everyone else can feel like, oh, I've got a minimap that I can zoom in or I can zoom out, depending on where I want to see the broad field of things. A lot of people said the battle grid already does this. True, but the battle grid takes up almost your whole view. So the new minimap with a zoom would be good. Currently, I think it would be bad. But that side, he moves on. We then went to leaderboards, which are going to be, I think they said they were going to be public and group drop leaderboards. There's going to be prizes, and they reset at the end of every month. So the more you play, the higher the chance you are of winning whatever the prizes are. Presumably, they're going to be things like maybe mech packs or mech credits or some, I don't know, bundles of shit. Who knows? There was no real details other than that. Faction play they moved on to then, which was ghost drops are gone. You will no longer be dropping on an empty map against just the map and no enemies. Instead, when that happens, you will automatically be awarded the win and the rewards for winning. So that'll save people a lot of time in faction play, which is quite good. Next up, they're changing the existing maps based on feedback. Forest Colony will be getting a new pathway through it. I think it's going to be like a cave tunnel. There are screenshots again on the patch notes list. So apparently this will open up like a new flanking opportunity. Significant reworks of Terra Firma, and I believe not Crimson, Viridian Bog, yeah, are on the table as well. This is because they've basically hired 2 new people who were pretty much dedicated to working on the maps and getting them redone for them, so that sped things up quite a lot. Decals. Russ actually made an effort to say decals rather than saying decals, because I think someone finally told him they're not laughing with you, they're laughing at you. He did break form a couple of times and say decals, but he very quickly fixed it and even acknowledged that he got it wrong a couple of times. I'm not sure what to think about this one, although I'm looking forward to the idea of having the decals. I'm not so over the moon about the cost of them, because he was describing them as being the same cost as certain colours, and some of the colours cost a lot of mech credits, especially premium ones, and he's saying some of these decals are going to be in the normal and the premium range of mech credit costs. So yeah, not sure what to think about that. Glad they're coming, not so over the moon about the price. He said that they're also going to be you won't be able to put them anywhere on the mech. Like, for instance, you won't be able to put them on joints or any moving part, because they don't want... Basically, the decal will stretch, and they don't want that. So you'll only be able to put it on sort of flatter areas of the mech, or areas that at least don't move a lot. Drop decks, he moved on to them. As we know, last month, you'll get 2 per mode, so 2 scout, 2 invasion mode drop decks, and then the selling others. I'm not sure how useful that'll be. Maybe for the hardcore teams, probably. Let's see, Viridian Bog changes are covered. Mech saving, yeah, apparently their engineers have been tweaking away backstage, and yeah, they've actually made it so you can save your mech loadouts incredibly quickly. This is for people who have upwards of like 300 mechs, which sometimes it would take a long time. Well, now they will be a hell of a lot faster. So that's good news, nice to see. The same is going to be for people loading in as well, apparently. Not at the same time, but a little later, and so loading in and out will be a much improved experience. Inverse kinematics now, or IK as it's abbreviated. Basically, this is the function of the mech's legs or feet looking like they're making contact with the ground. So if there's an uneven surface, the actual leg, one of the legs will be slightly raised because it'll be standing on a rock, whereas the other one will be on flat ground. So they're bringing that back in. If you remember, if you remember back in, maybe the beta days? Way back when, they had inverse kinematics then, and it got removed because it was made by someone else on the dev team who left. So, like a lot of their stuff, it just kind of got left out there in the wind. But they're bringing it back, and yeah, it's now more optimized, so it's less server intensive apparently. So that's good. This unfortunately brings it to something that kind of pissed me off a little bit. Russ says he will never add quad mechs. Now, bearing in mind in the past he said we can never have quad mechs. They just can't work in the engine. Now he's saying, oh, we're not having quad mechs because I don't like them. So it means you could have done it. You chose not to because you don't like them personally. So, fuck customers and, the potential of them buying the mechs. I wasn't too happy about that personally. Yeah, he moved on to the new Assault Mode 2.0. Someone did bring up a good question. If this new Assault Mode is going to have like a base with walls and generators and fucking turrets and all this stuff, right? Some maps just aren't going to work like that. I mean, how are you going to fit all of that on Mining Collective? Someone asked, which is a really good point. And some of the other maps just aren't going to work. Yeah, you can hear a cat in the background, by the way. Angry cat. She doesn't like the fact that quad mechs aren't going in either. So that'll be interesting. I would like respawns in this mode. It just doesn't seem to make sense to have these two bases that you attack and you've only got one life. But we'll see. Apparently it's being tested in July. I think the new Assault Mode is going to be on PTS servers, so if you want to try it out, I guess there'll be an application process to go into the public test server. I say, though, it really needs serious testing, and I would really love for them to do respawns. There was also the possibility of another game type, the asymmetric mode, the attack and defend, basically, with the Union class dropship being a focal point of that, presumably the thing you're attacking. But details on that are very light, and there's not much going on. He moved on to August, and its potential updates include the new heat scale, which has the energy draw system, another probably controversial change. The idea that firing weapons is a drain on your reactor, so it will cause, not only will we have the heat spike, but it will mean less damage from your weapons. And he's hoping this will combat things like alpha striking and boating of certain weapons. Remains to be seen. At this point, anything is going to be better than Ghost Heat, hopefully. If they make something worse than Ghost Heat, that will be quite an achievement in and of itself. Yeah, he wants to reduce, as a quote, he wants to reduce the poke and shoot style of play that the game currently has. Russ then goes off on one and starts saying that if they ever lose the license, no one else could ever make a MechWarrior game like they have made. I'm sorry, Russ, but I'm pretty sure MechWarrior Living Legends far outstripped everything you've ever made. And that shit never even got out of just its early testing period as a mod. I mean, MechWarrior Living Legends, for people who never saw it, because it basically died as soon as MechWarrior came out. It was a Crytek Crisis 1 engine mod that had battle mechs, infantry combat, aerotech combat, elemental combat, vehicle combat, and ground combat on huge maps. It had everything. All it really needed was, more time to bake, and you would have had a full-on, proper, I think it was set in the 30s, 60s period, MechWarrior game that would have had just everything in it that MechWarrior Online will never give you. We'll never have elementals or battle armor in general. We'll never have aerospace fighters. We'll never have tanks. It's the facts, MechWarrior Online is a good game, but it will never ever be close to what MechWarrior Living Legends achieved in its relatively short time of existence. So sorry, Russ, I completely disagree with you on that. Other companies could do better, and if you ever lose the license, I imagine a company probably will do better because they won't want to make the same mistakes you did. That side, let's see, we had another break. I'm just trying to find, because I had to go, it was 4 AM at that point, so I'll be looking at notes now and kind of reacting to them at the same time. Let's see, it explains they've overcome technical difficulties that allowed them to add more features to the heat scale. For example, mechs will slow down at 90% heat. That would be cool if it happened, but this is Russ, and Russ sometimes likes to say things to make people happy and then they never happen. He asks the NGNG guys about questions. They go for a bio break. Okay, here we go. Retrofit skins. Oh yeah, that's bringing all the skins up to use for every mech that's currently in game. I understand that's probably a long process for an artist to have to go through. But apparently hero mechs will be able to use any camo pattern. That will be interesting. Although slightly defeating the purpose of the hero mech skins, though, really, isn't it? By the end of the year, all mechs should have it. Okay. Cheat detection. Russ has claimed they have banned a bunch of people before today's town hall. Not a large number, but he won't name and shame them yet, apparently. Okay. They're watching the tournament, and he says there were less cheaters than he expected. I do apologise for the meowy cat in the background. She's just off on one. Yeah, the banhammer, wave 2, the much promised banhammer that never came, and now it's sort of dribs and drabs. I suppose it's better than nothing. Asked about MechCon, didn't give any info, though apparently Battletech's the Harebrained Scheme game might be there. Cool. Faction play, trying to reduce the buckets for the wait time. That's an ongoing process. So there's not enough people in the mode, that's the problem. Trying to narrow it down to clan versus in a sphere. I think if you're going to do that, you may as well just make all the faction play just to be on one planet. Make it Tukiad. Just put every faction on Tukiad, or have, like, I don't know, 2 or 3 planets and all the factions are fighting on 2 or 3 planets, and just do it that way. I think it's the only way that you could concentrate all the players in a small number of areas to keep the turnover of matches good and fast enough that it keeps people interested. Otherwise, the current model, you'd need a lot more people. You'd need, like, World of Tanks level of players or more to make that number of planets worth it. An interesting one, stock mode option for private matches, or will be available for private matches. Now, I don't believe this until I see it, because, again, this is Russ just saying shit. I mean, stock mode he's been asked about a lot in the past, and he's usually just brushed it off like, nah, I'm not interested. But apparently this could be August or September, maybe. Private lobbies will have a stock button and a quirkless button, apparently, so you can potentially play a stock locust without quirks, for example. It would be great if it appeared. I would love for that to if it does arrive as a private option, I really hope it one day becomes a quick play option. They they ask about questions from the chat again. Skill trees, apparently they're working on it. Skill trees really are needed. They've been gone for a while. Phil asked about in-game chat. Oh yeah, there's going to be an update for in-game chat, so you'll finally be able to have chat functionality in the mech lab. You know, really dragging themselves into the modern era of gaming there, guys. Working on a way to end module hunt. Oh yeah, because if you've got a lot of modules, it takes a long time to find them. So yeah, if they can speed up the process of finding modules, maybe color coding them might help, like they did with the other mech lab. No update on the new engine updates. That could take a year, though. Yeah, that's something they're not going to just rush into. I understand that. They'd like the game to be around about 10 more years. Maybe. Phil asks about Solaris mode. Russ says he would like Solaris to have replays. He would like it to feature where you could potentially have 10,000 spectators. That would be the entire audience of MechWarrior, I imagine. Due to technical challenges, Solaris is some ways off. I think it was a couple of town halls back he was saying Solaris was like coming this year or something. Now it's technically a problem. Not too far off from another timeline jump. Oh no, that means new weapons. That means all the old weapons are going to be useless. Okay, Mad Cat Mark 2 might be announced. Hint, hint, folks. I know a lot of people wanted the Mad Cat Mark 2, so that's not a shock. He's open to updating the HUD with customization options, so not focused on that though. And a couple more. Russ. Oh, someone must have asked about VR. Let's face it, guys, you don't want VR MechWarrior. They have enough trouble fucking adding. They just admitted that they're getting around to adding chat in the fucking mech lab. You want to talk about adding VR? Good God, that would take them. That would go so badly. And they confirm they're working on AI and PvE. Well, they've been working on AI and PvE for a while, and they may have an announcement about that at MechCon. Okay, nice. I think there was another thing earlier on where they were talking about also having a mini town hall with some of the sort of major faction play leaders to get their feedback and what might be needed. Who knows? Be interested. So that was that town hall of the 17th of June. Packed with a lot of info, as I said. Check out the patch notes because that will help you get to grips with a lot of the new changes. The quirk PDF list is there for every variant. There's a lot of fixes to maps. They've even done, and I was surprised about this, a small optimization of the engine itself. Holy shit. Some people may actually have a smoother experience in-game. So, without this going on too much longer, that's it. Thanks for listening, everybody. I will see you during the week. Have a good one. Critical Rocket, signing out. Oh, and Hebe as well. Yeah, because she was in this one, meowing her ass off. Bye!